So today topic is Python data types. As we are discussing how to create variables and other stuff, now it's time to discuss data types because it is the most topic you have to know while using Python. So in programming, data types is an important concept you have to know because based on that our variables react. Like variables can store data of different data types and different types can be do different things. Like if you are storing some text, then it's called string. Text types are string. And we have another data type which are numeric types which contain different type of numbers. It may be integer, it may be float, which contain decimals. It can be a complex number, which contain uh, alphabets like J. Sequence types we have list, tuple, and range, and in maps we have dictionary, and set types we have set, frozenset, and Boolean type we have binary type we have, and don't get overwhelmed because I'm also exploring these all of this stuff one by one. So the most important few things you have to know is string, integer, and float, and complex is rarely used, and boolean are mostly used. So you already have to get better understanding of these three few of them to go with continue our programming with Python. However, it's okay if you don't know any of these. We will be using these and we will be trying out and see how these stuff works. So don't get overwhelmed. You are just learning the stuff. So let's get started with data types. So we already have used these function like we have determined what data type contained by our variables. Now it's time to get deeper into this topic. So we have a variable x. As you know that you can have any variable with any name you want, but based on the value we are storing in the variable, now the data types is based on the value we are giving to the variable. So if we are giving it a number, if we print the type of the variable x, then we will get class x. Class int means that we have a data type of integer. Now, if we have a string, if we run this, then we can see that our class will be str, which means that based on our value, our variable data type changes. And when we give different values like a decimal, then we can see that data types will be changing according to that. So just for better understanding, we have to create some of them side by side so we can understood the four major um, data types. And now we have to copy this again and again and again. So we have a decimal here, we have a complex here, and we have an string here. So for declaring string, we need to put inverted commas for the value and it's become string. For number, we doesn't need to put any inverted commas. It auto detected by the programming backend of Python that it is a number. And now here it's a decimal number which type in Python is float. And if you have any number with a text, then it is a complex number. And this is already we have discussed, it's a string. If we run this, then you can see that each of the stuff will have different data types. So you can see that the first one is a number, integer. Second is these three types are types of numbers which are different based on their values. Like if you have a decimal value, then it's a flow. If you have a number with a letter, it's a complex number. But if you have a number with into inverted commas, the system will detect it as a string. So we can change the data type of this to make sure we are using an integer. So if you see your string can be converted into easily converted into number, then you can do that by just giving it something like int x. If we run that, what will be the answer? Integer. You can see that here we have string, but when we put in a function that convert any number into any string into a number, so it is displaying as int. It's only happen if there is no any text. If you have any text, it might show an error. So the best practice is that if you have a pure number without any complex or other stuff, it will be easily converted into integer. So this is the main condition you have to know. So however, I am also learning the Python while teaching you. So it's a best practice for both. You can follow along with me as I am also beginner, and you can try out by yourself as we have discovering many things side by side. So here is few examples you can try out setting the data types. In Python, the data type is set when you assign a value to a variable. So if you assign x a variable with hello world, it's a text and its data type is string. If you initialize any variable with a value of number, pure number, it will be integer. If you have any value of number in decimal, it will be called as float. If you have any text with any your pure number, it becomes complex data type. And if you have many string in a square bracket, then it's a list. If you have multiple strings in a small brackets, then it becomes tuple. If you have range of any number, then it's a data type of range. For dictionary, you need curly brackets in which you can have both the variables and you can have different things. We will be discussing it later. Dictionary, which is a vast stuff which have to discover it because it's very useful when we are working on projects or like creating agentic AI, creating AI models and other stuff. It's dictionary used a lot of time. So it's already same to arrays, which is called set in Python. So it just contain multiple strings in a curly brackets. This and this one is totally different. You can see that here we are storing two values at the same time by separating with a comma, but here we only have one value as we have in list and tuples. So this is the another stuff. So this one is, I don't think it's important for now. So let's keep it to not make it totally overwhelmed. And if you have any variable which contain true and false, and it will call as boolean. It's a type of data type which only contain true or false, and it's something bits and byte traces and other stuff which is not important for now, but in future we will be discussing. Let's setting the specific data types. Here is some challenges you have to do by yourself. You can run each of the stuff and convert them into different data types. Tab, we are not changing. What is the stuff is happening here? If we remove the string function, it still work, I think. So why are this is mentioned? So just try out each of the stuff which you have the curiosity about. If you have any, if you don't, then you can move on towards the next thing. So if x is equal to 5, what is correct syntax for printing the data type of the variable? So if we have x is equal to 5, then to print we use directly type and it will display the type of variable. It's that much easy. Let's move on towards challenge of data types so we can better understanding of how much we have understood the Python data types. Test your understanding of Python data types by completing a small coding challenge. So here's few instructions. Inside the editor, complete the following step. Create a variable x with the value of 5. Variable x contains value of 5 and create a variable y with the value of 3.14. 3.14 y is equal to 3.14, and after that what we have z is equal to hello. Now let's print the data type of each. Print type, and in our case just copy it, x, y, z, y. If we run this, I hope it's work, and if it's working, then we are successfully learned the Python data types. Now it's time to move forward towards learning Python numbers. So now it's time to learn Python numbers. So as we have discussed already the Python data types, in which also we have explored Python numbers in more specifically. Right now this section is only containing Python numbers, so we can get better understanding of how Python numbers works. So there are three numeric types in Python: int, floats, and complex. Int is a pure number and float contain decimal numbers, and complex contains some complex words or tags with your pure number. So to verify of any an object in Python, use the tag function as we already had done with many data types to see what their data type, what kind of data type they possess. So if in this case you can see that the x contains value 1 and y contains a decimal value and z contains the word the letter j, which makes it a complex data type. So both of these are numbers but in different forms. So based on their type, when we print the type of the variables, you can see that the first one is integer, and the second one is decimal, which called float in Python, and the third one is complex. Directly you can say that it's a complex number. Also it used in algebra etc, as you have done. Hopefully if you are learning Python and machine learning and AI, then you have to master mathematics, which is the first thing you have to do, so you can get better understanding of AI and ML in depth. It's a baseline to learn these technologies. So int or integer is a whole number, positive or negative, without decimal and unlimited length. So let's try out this one to figure out multiple stuff. So instead of having all of these, and if we have 1, or if we have -1, or if we have a number with many, a large number, The integer data type doesn't change with these kind of values. It's a pure number which don't contain any complex letter with it. It can be positive or negative. It can be large or too small. Still, it will be an integer. If we try out this their data type, you can see that both of them are integer based on their data type. And it doesn't mean that if you increase the value or decrease the value of an integer, it becomes any other data type. It's not. Either it's positive or negative, containing any value, it will be an integer in Python, and it can be have a pure number. Without that, if it's contain float decimal, it will be not anymore an integer. It will become a float. So a float or floating point number is a number positive or negative containing one or more decimal. So either if you have a lots of decimal point numbers after your first number, or you only have one decimal number, or you are the one in each thing, you will be a float. Your value will be a float. As you can see that programming language doesn't care about how much data you have. It only uh, it's only matter that what kind of data you have. If it's decimal, it's obviously going to be a float. If it's negative or positive, it doesn't mean it will be not change data type. If it's too large, it will be the same data type. If it's too small, it will still the same data type. So hopefully you have understood how Python floats work. Now let's move on towards any other stuff. Float can be also scientific number like exponential, and we can use for that. If you want to have something like this and you want to write in scientific exponential form, then you have to remove this all of the 5 zeros, put the 0.0 e exponential. What will be the exponential? Here they have done, I hope, exponential 6 5. So if we run this, then its data type is still float, because it only means that exponential means that you just have shortened the value and it's now in points. So when things goes to points, goes to decimal, it's become float in Python. So right now, if we talk about complex number, which are written using j as the imaginary part. So we only have a variable. If you have any variable which contains j, which is an imaginary part, uh, it become a complex number. Either it's too large, or either it's too small, or either it's going to add it with another number. Still, it will be a complex number. If you have one, still it's become complex. If you add this with 10, then it will still a complex number. If we see that we are summing a pure number with complex number, which make it a complex number, which can't be added, but this value contain x variable contain this whole value. So that's why this x is now also a complex number. So you don't have to get confused about this. Type conversion, we can do that using the function we have used recently. So if you have 1 and you want to make it float, you can use float function and it will become we have to put x, and if we see the data type of the x, as you can see that here its value for type is integer, but here it's become float and its type will be float. If we run that, you will see float because we are taking the x value. However, we converted the x value into float in value y. So if we run that, you can see that now the float, and it's just because I just want to listen how it will sound.
Float, 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 float.
Its pronunciation is too good to listen.
Class, class, class.
Take a fun. So this happened, and now if you have any float 1.0 or 1.1 and we make it integer, want to make it integer, and if it's a float, now we are using integer function to convert into integer, and you will see the answer. However, we also have to see the number so we can get better understanding. The y is now integer, as we are storing 1.1 in the variable x and the variable y. In the variable y, we are using a function integer which will convert the this float into integer, and when we print the y which contains the value x in the form of integer, its answer is 1. It's no more decimal, and when we print the data type, then its data type is integer. So that's a great point. And now the last thing which we have to do with the j. If you have plus 1j or any j, 2j, and it's a complex one, now we have to convert into integer. If we run this, what will be the answer? X is, it's not converting the complex one. So converting complex, it's, you cannot convert complex number into another data type. You can't do that. But what you can do is you can convert an integer or a float into complex. You cannot convert complex into integer. So let's do that and see the results. If we do that, we have a natural number 1 and we want to convert it into complex, so we are using the complex function. And if we do that, if we run this, what will be the answer? Now our 1 will contain a j. It's complex, so you can see that now it's indicating it's a complex number. So hopefully you have understood how these stuff are working. Now it's time to learn random number. In Python, you use a random function to make a random number, but Python has a built-in module called random that can run used to make random numbers. So for printing out random numbers, you just have to use this keyword and run this. However, it's a module in Python, so you need to import the random. So when you import the random and you have called random dot rand r and range from 1 to 10, then on run of our each it will change the value. You can see that it will be between 1 and 10.
Random.
So if we run this, the value will be random. And if we give it a precise value from 1 to 0 to 1, I hope it will be a decimal. Let's see, it's giving 0 still. Between 0 and 1, it's still giving 0. So if we give it 10 and 100, now it should change the values because it is generating different values. So based on that, it should work randomly. Yeah, it's happening. For great for us. Now in our random reference, you will learn more about the random modules. In programming, we will be using the random function and random stuff to generate the dynamic responses or random responses to indicate some prediction of that stuff. So it is much more useful. So keep in mind it will be using by us in our coming up exercises. So which is not a legal numeric data type in Python. Legal numeric, I don't read out any law, so I think it's illegal because I don't use it till now. That's why I'm talking about it. Now it's time to have a coding challenge. As we have a coding challenge in our all of the exercises, it makes us more easy to follow the stuff and learn something new. Python numbers code challenge. What is the challenge? So the instruction are here displayed. You can see that inside the editor, complete the following steps. Create a variable x and assign it the integer of 5. If you have a variable x, you should assign it with 5. Y should be assigned with 3.143. It's 3. And in the last, assign the complex number with complex number is z and 2 plus 3j is a complex number. And we have to have the data type of each stuff. So for data type, we put type function in ex and we have to close the brackets. And we have to do it for all of the things x, y, sorry, it's called wave, y, z. If we run this, does our code match the output? I think yes. We are master now. We are doing great and we have done it. Great job, bro. You are learning. So let's move towards Python casting. Let's extend our mentality to learn more. Towards challenging ourselves to do more, it will make us more competitive and more reliable in the learning journey. Our target is completing operators in this section. So let's move forward and I hope we will match and we will complete the challenge. Today's challenge is going far beyond operators. If we close up the operators, it will be great for us because we will be completing and we will be completing the challenge which is for ourselves to learn more today. So Python casting. Specify a variable type. So we have declared variables based on the value, the data type of the variable changes. Like if you put in x is equal, if you put in x is equal to 1, y is equal to Ali, and z is equal to 2.2. Then based on this, their data types are changing. You can see that we have given some random values and some random values to some random variables. Basis on the values in the variables, the data types are changed. First is integer, second is string, third is float. So in Python, another we can have we can directly give the data type of the variable with the value. If you put int and you have 2.2, automatically the data type of x will be integer. However, you are giving the float number, but it will not consider the floating number. It will only round off and it will give us two number, which is the pure integer. And if you have uh, float function, if you declaring a variable with a float, and if you have one inside that, automatically it will be converting your one variable, one value into 1.0 into decimal. And in the last, if you put in complex and declaring a variable with a complex function, and you are putting 1, then its data type will automatically convert into complex. So you can mention data type with the variable. It's not a best practice, but in some cases we need it. So if we run this, and you will see that this decimal is no more decimal, it's integer. This number integer is no more integer, it's a float. And this simple integer is now become complex number. So you can declare a data type of any variable with it, which in some cases useful, in some cases make no sense. So you can see that in integer we have 1, and vice versa. You can try out by yourself to get better understanding of it. If you want to convert in a string into float, you can do just put float and it will convert into float. Now thus value y is float. If you put integer, it will convert into integer. The string will automatically convert into integer. It's only happen when you don't have any other stuff with the number. If you have any number text with the value, it will not work. The string should be pure number, then it will convert into different data types. Or casting you can implement with it. So casting means that you can uh, uh, use it. You can change the data type of any variable you want using casting. So this is how casting works. So here is an exercise. What will be the result of the following code? If we print integer function with a float number, obviously the floating number will be doesn't consider, it doesn't round off any stuff. It directly remove the decimal after the points. So let's move towards its challenge, coding challenge. So Python casting coding challenge. Test your understanding of Python typecasting by completing a small coding challenge. Inside the editor, complete the following step. Create a variable x with a value of 1. Create a variable, convert x to float. To convert into float, we have to call the float function and then give x to it and convert x to a string and store in the b. So b and str you have to put to convert into string, put x and print a and v. Print a and b. So what will happen? Is there any addition happening and other stuff? No, I don't think. So if we run this, let's see what be the result. 1.1 and 1. You can see that it's cool, we have one variable now, and when we store it in x, it's integer, but when we convert it into float, the value of x becomes float now, and in b it's a text. However, it seems like, but it's a text. We have done it correct way. What it tell? Print A and B. I directly print A and B. I am extraordinary become in while learning the Python. So it's glad to me to see that I'm getting better at Python programming language. So let's move on. So this topic is containing a lot of more stuff. So I will come back and continue the series. So with more energy and more power, so we can go for operator. We have to complete this. We have to. There is no other option to give up.